Hey, what's up guys, Dhruval here back with another video, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create HDR images with really funky colors. And the fun part is that this is actually the first video by me discussing topics like camera raw and HDR. So this is gonna be a lot of fun, so let's get started. Now first of all, to follow this method we need to open image in camera raw. Now if you have a raw file, that's simple job, you just have to open the image and you will open it in a camera raw. But let's say if you have a JPG file, then what you can do, so there is an option for that. First of all, you go to edit menu, then go to preferences, and there you find camera raw. Now I'm not sure about CS4 or 5, but in CS6 we have this option, and in CC you have this option in filter. So first of all, let's go to camera raw, and in the camera raw here in JPG and TIFF handling you have to select automatically open JPG with settings, or all JPG supported, whichever option is fine with you. So first of all, I'm gonna select the second one and hit OK. Now go to file and open any image you want. So I'm gonna use this image, and when I open this image will be automatically open in camera raw, even though this is not a raw file, this is actually a JPEG. And now this I previously worked on this file already, so this is already an edited version of this image. So you can go to this little icon here and select camera raw defaults. So this is the actual photograph that was taken. Now HDR actually stands for high dynamic range, and the purpose of HDR is to gain as much detail and colors possible. So first of all, we have to recover some details from the shadows and then from the highlights. And these tools are marvelous, they do a really awesome job at bringing back details, and if you have a raw file, the output is going to be even better, so keep that always in mind. Now I already have numbers that I chose, but I'm gonna explain you why. So first of all, exposure, I wanted to brighten it up a little bit, a touch. So first of all, 0.50 exposure. So as you can see, that's a lot of difference, even though it's just 0.5. Then let's go to contrast, and I want to get rid of some contrast, so I can make it as flat as possible, minus 54, and I'm gonna show you why I'm making it flat. Now highlights are minus 85. So this really helps to bring back that detail in the sky. As you can see here, if I make it normal and now let's make it down to 85, or maybe don't have to be super accurate. So as you can see, this my tongue is really out of control today. So this brings back a lot of details. Now let's start with the shadows. Now in the shadows, plus 54. So when you increase the shadow, it will increase the details that are in the shadows, as you can see. So increases the details, and this is kind of a really easy compared to what you use adjustment layers. Not as versatile, but still really easy if you are a beginner or something. Now let's go to whites, and in the whites I have minus 38, so we can bring back even more details. Not a big change, but just a touch, as you can see. So don't go extreme, otherwise you will make your sky look dull. So every image has different colors, so your settings are going to be different, but you should know what slider does what. That's the purpose. So the whites look fine, and don't even look at the sliders or numbers. Look at your image whenever you are changing the slider, so you can actually see what is going on instead of blindly following the numbers. And now for the clarity part. Now clarity is a bit of tricky thing. Now at first you might think, oh my god, that looks awesome, I've got a lot of details, but when you increase it more than necessary, it's gonna make it blotchy and darkish. I don't know what is the word for that, but it definitely makes it look uglier. So this is good when it's in control. So I'm definitely gonna use a limited amount, like maybe 40 or something like that. That looks fine, or maybe even less. Now there is an option for sharpening, let me find. So this is the sharpening, but I do not like this option because this just makes image a bit noisy and a lot sharpened. You can use it in limited amount, but still it's just not fun. So if I zoom in and I increase the sharpening, as you can see, there is a lot of noise going on, and I don't like that. while the clarity is a different thing. So it makes it image a bit sharper but using the contrast, and that is much better. So the clarity thing better over sharpening, so that's my just personal preference. And sometimes if you get lucky, you can also use sharpening without making it noisy or anything, so always give it a shot. So this is the second option here, something that you are familiar with, curves, if you use the Photoshop in adjustment layers or somewhere. So this is basically the curves but with a little more controls over the shadows and highlights. And as you can see here, so I have numbers for each and everything noted down. So first of all, highlights is 13 to add a bit of highlight, but this is not very dramatic change or something, but you just have to keep realize you have to keep it subtle, don't go too extreme. A step by step you can make it better, but just don't use any option like crazy. Now the lights, so lights are -16, so bring back even more details from the highlights, and this is totally optional. This is not going to make even really big impact. It's just some my personal habits that I like to do whenever I am retouching some landscape or anything. So the darks are also -12. So as I said earlier, I'm trying to make this image as like flat as possible, so you can also increase it if you like the flat even more, like if you like it better. So my speech is really crazy today, I have no idea why, but please bear with me. So the shadows are -8, not a really huge impact. I have no idea why I used it, but I did, so that's that. So if I turn it on and off, you can see it makes a bit of a difference, not very dramatic, but this palette does a lot of difference. And this is the original, if you see camera raw defaults, and this is the custom settings. Awesome, I love it. So let's open the image, but before you directly click on open image inside Photoshop, hold your shift key, and then as you can see here, it changes to open object, and then open it. Now why this? So this gives you an advantage. Maybe this is only in cs6, I guess. I have no good experience with cs5. So if you double click on this icon again, you can actually use and tweak any settings anytime you want. So this is totally non-destructive, and that is what everyone wants. So let's start with the color correction, and this is what I have done. And you can see this type of colors in, I think, Michael Bay movies, which are really funky and colorful. This summer movie looks. And so to do this, first of all, the major layer is the selective colors, as you can see here. So this is no more big logic. So let's start with the reds, so I can show you what I have done. So here in the adjustment panel, you can find selective colors, the first one. And then in the reds, first of all, I increase the red because we have red in the buildings, and then I increase the red in the black, so it will give it a bit more contrast with the red color. And then I also added a bit of yellow, so yellow is the close color to the red, so I thought it might work, and it did. And then also increased a bit of magenta, but that doesn't make a bit of a difference, so doesn't matter. Now let's go back and look at the yellows, and in the yellow I have -100 and +20. So let me explain. So yellow, so let's add a bit of yellow in the buildings and the tones, and then a bit of yellow in the blacks. So this is the same thing we did in the red, but a little bit different. So you can also try this slider, but this slider doesn't make really crazy impact, so you have to be a little careful because we don't have any green. And let's go to science. So these sliders are, there are so many sliders, so a little change makes a really big change, so you have to be careful whatever you are changing, otherwise it can change your image and you won't even realize that what is going on. So let's go to science, and the cyan are definitely for the sky, so I'm gonna increase the cyans, and then I'm gonna increase the black. So also a bit of maybe here in the yellow, so that looks really nice. And I sometimes don't even totally follow it, but as you can see, this looks also better, and this is also looks nice. So maybe let's go to blues, and this is the same thing. Let's go to blues, so we are already here. Increase the cyans and increase the blues, so that looks really dope. And in the blacks, we can also increase a bit of blue, so it gives it that feeling of contrast. So we are almost near, and I think I have no changes in any else. So you have to realize that what is the major colors in your images. So here you have blue, red and yellow. So that is you gonna play like those are the colors that you're gonna use in your selective colors. So if you turn it on and off, this is really great change. Now if you're thinking that you can use just vibrance for it, so let me show you what vibrance does. So vibrance or saturation, so plain saturation sucks, totally sucks, that is just terrible. And even the vibrance doesn't look that great. So this is the output of vibrance, and this is the selective colors. So selective color is much more subtle and beautiful than the vibrance. So delete the vibrance and play with selective colors. Now if you go back and you see I have a bit of curve, and that is nothing, it's nothing major, just a bit of points to create a little contrast. So this is kind of optional. If you want to use it or don't use it, doesn't matter. So let's go to curves, and I'm gonna make a little bit adjustment. And whenever I'm working on image, I do not decide that today I'm gonna use curves or something. I just go with some options, and then I see which one is working really good with the image I'm working on. So every image has different story, so you have to just kind of get used to it. Don't stick with the numbers or some permanent method. Now we get to use the vibrance to boost the colors to that funky level. Now these are bit of good colors, no doubt, but these are not funky or cool looking. This is just natural, but we want to take it to the next level, right? So let's go to vibrance and increase it full 100%. I don't even care. You can decrease it a little if you think these reds are intense a lot. So that looks really great, and we are almost done. So let's see what we have next. So this is the color balance to give it even a little bit more contrast. So let's go with the shadows. I have a little bit of blue, very little, and see I have selected this prism luminosity. Otherwise it will not give that contrast, it will be flat. So let's go with the prism luminosity. So let's go back and select color balance. Where is it? Here. And in the shadows, so I have selected the prism luminosity and increased the blues a little to give it that feeling of nature, like in the movies you usually see in the summer movies. So let's go to yellows. Oops, not the yellows. Let's go to your highlights and increase a bit of yellow, so that looks nice. So the final output is ready, and if you want to see the after before, let's go here, and I have this original image here. So I'm just gonna copy it, press Ctrl A and Ctrl C to copy it, and let's paste it here. So if I turn it on and off, as you can see, this is the image that we started, and this is the final output, which is freaking amazing. And we did not even use any raw file. It was a completely JPEG file, and we used the help of Camera Raw to create this HDR image. So tell me, this looks awesome to me, so tell me your thoughts about this image in the comments. So I hope you learned something, and if you have any kind of question related to this video or my any other video, feel free to ask me in the comments. And how about hitting that subscribe button? That can help me a lot. So you can subscribe to my channel for my future updates, or a like would be really appreciated. So you can also check out this really awesome tutorials by Tutorials Junction. We have a lot of them. So till then, goodbye, take care, and have some fun with Photoshop.